Tropical Storm Eta is still lingering off the Gulf of Mexico and is on track to make landfall in Florida again. A tornado watch went into effect for some southwest Florida counties on Tuesday, and power outages and a hazardous storm surge are still a concern. For more on what to expect, I want to bring in CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli. Jeff, what is the latest on Eta? Where is it now and where is it heading?
So the storm's located just offshore of the Tampa Bay area, and it's moving north. So it's not going to landfall in Tampa, but the worst of the impacts will still be over Tampa because the strongest parts of the storm are actually offset from the center. So let me step out of the picture and show you the radar. So there's the radar. That's St. Petersburg, Clearwater. That's the center of the storm just offshore. This will be coming on shore tomorrow morning around the Cedar Key area, which this is called the Big Bend area of Florida because it bends around. Winds are still 70 miles an hour with this system, so it's still on the verge of hurricane status. It was a hurricane earlier this morning, then it was downgraded again to a tropical storm. So there's the storm. It doesn't look very formidable, but there's a lot of tropical moisture, so it is producing a lot of rainfall, and this is what we think is going to happen. The storm makes landfall tomorrow morning, so the worst is tonight through 7, 8 a.m., and then it starts to get better for most folks in Florida. Jacksonville will see the storm during the afternoon, and then the storm moves offshore, but it's also going to bring some heavy rain to places like North Carolina as well.
Well, what are some of the biggest impacts that Florida can expect?
So storm surges is probably the biggest impact, and that's because, you know, it's very shallow, just really close to the coast here. And the shallow water goes all the way offshore. And also, everybody is near sea level here on the west coast of Florida. It floods really easily. You don't need a very big storm. So, and you can see these winds are pretty strong. Look at that onshore flow right there. That's why the storm surge is kind of moving in. So wind gusts tonight, 62 Clearwater. You can see generally in the 40s and 50s the rest of the night until tomorrow morning, and then things start to get better. But obviously, the rain is going to be falling heavy for at least the next several hours or so. Storm surge. There's the onshore flow right into Tampa Bay and into the Big Bend area. And so as much as 3 to 5 feet of water. Now, it's easy, again, to flood the streets of the Tampa Bay area and all the way up the west coast of Florida. So we do expect to see possibly some substantial flooding the middle of tonight. That's when high tide is in the Tampa Bay area. It's around 1 o'clock or so in the morning. All right, rainfall totals in Tampa, about 4 or 5 inches on top of what they've had, which is 3, 4, 5 inches already, so maybe as much as 8 to 10 inches. And then across the Carolinas, even though the system's going to move south and out to sea, we're going to see another 4, in some cases, maybe isolated areas up to around 8 inches of rain in the Carolinas. So this is a wet storm.
Well, Eta formed earlier this month, Jeff, and it devastated parts of Central America. Can you give us an update on the situation there? Those images were so haunting. And then I'm also wondering if you can explain what has made this storm so long-lived. It seems really remarkable to me.
Well, it's been going on for 12 days. Now, that's a fairly long time. When storms are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and they go on for 12 days, which they would do all the time, we don't pay attention. So we're not paying close attention. But when a storm is literally knocking on our door, we are paying close attention. That's been the problem. This is the progression of Eta over the past 12 days, making landfall in Central America as a Cat 4. Now, in Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, we saw, so much rain, in some cases over 2 feet of rain. 150 people died. There were landslides, mudslides. Remember, it's very hilly terrain, so the water that falls on top of the hills runs off like rivers down into the valleys, can wipe away villages. That's how dangerous flooding can be in Central America with tropical systems, even just a tropical storm. This was a Cat 4 hurricane when it made landfall. You could see the progression of it. It made its way east and snaking its way. It made like an S shape, if you look at it. Now, the reason for that, you asked why it's been stuck there. Well, we've had this big heat dome. Here in New York City, we've been in the 70s. In Vermont, it was in the 70s. Up in Canada, all-time record highs.
It's been gorgeous,
yeah. Big record-breaking heat dome. Yeah, it's been gorgeous here. The problem is this big heat dome across the East Coast, doesn't allow any of this jet stream wind right here, this jet stream to pick up the storm and pull it north. So it's been kind of just sitting and stuck in the Caribbean for days. Well, that's about to change. The rain that we're getting tonight in New York City, that is going to sweep the system finally to the north, pick it up and sweep it to the north. So it's been this heat dome and the persistence of this heat dome and the strength of the heat dome that's kept the system stuck in the Caribbean, but it's finally going to be exiting now.
I love how you answer all my layperson questions, Jeff. And we've also been talking at length about 29 named storms. That is obviously historic. How much longer is this hurricane season expected to continue?
So officially hurricane season ends November 30th, but we every once in a while get systems in December. And if it was going to happen, it would probably be 2020, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. And water temperatures are still way above normal, of course, yeah. So Eta attained hurricane status earlier today in the Gulf. It was the latest that we've ever seen a hurricane, in November in the Gulf since 1985. So 2020 just keeps breaking records. Theta in the Central Atlantic is the 29th named storm. That's the most we've ever seen in any season in record keeping. And the season's not done because we're expecting Iota to form in the next couple of days. That will be number 30. And I'll tell you, there's probably going to be another storm or two even after that. It's crazy. So that's Theta in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You don't have to worry about that. Here's Iota, which is likely to form to the south of Puerto Rico, right there. Once it makes its way towards the west, it'll strengthen. It may even become a hurricane, and yes, it's possible that it may hit Central America again as a strong storm as we head towards the weekend. So this is something we need to watch, but it's been a relentless hurricane season for sure.
Yeah, 2020. All right, Jeff Berardelli, thank you.
You're welcome.